Far within the forest scene, where the trees forever green form a contrast to the beech and birches gray, where the snow lies white and deep, and the snowbirds seem to sleep, and cease their sweetest singing all the day, where the mighty monster moose of limbs long and large and loose through the forest sweeps with strides both swift and strong, where the caribou and deer swim the brooks so crystal clear, where the dark and deep Dungarvon sweeps along, where the black bear has his den, far beyond the haunts of men, where the muskrat, mink, and marten fill the streams, where the squirrel light and free swiftly springs from tree to tree, and the lovely snow-white rabbit sleeps and dreams, where the sounds of toil resound far across the frozen ground, and the thousand things that to the woods belong, where the saws and axes ring and the woodsmen wildly sing, where the dark and deep Dungarvon sweeps along. In a lumber camp one day, while the crew were far away, and the boss and cook were in the camp alone, a sad tragedy took place, and death won another race, when the young cook swiftly passed to the unknown. From that day of long ago comes this weird tale of woe, the sad and solemn subject of my song, when this young man drooped and died in his youth and manhood's pride, where the dark and deep Dungarvon sweeps along. When the crew returned at night, what a sad scene met their sight. There lay the young cook, silent, cold, and dead. Death was in his curling hair, in his young face pale and fair, while his knapsack formed a pillow for his head. From the belt about his waist, all his money was misplaced, which made the men suspect some serious wrong. Was it murder, cold and dread, that befell the fair young head, where the dark and deep Dungarvon sweeps along? When they asked the skipper why he had made no wild outcry, he turned away and hid his haughty head. "Well, the youngster took so sick, and he died so mighty quick, I hadn't time to think," was all he said. A tear was in each eye, each heart heaved a heavy sigh, while through each breast the strangest feeling throng. Then each reverent head was bared, as his funeral they prepared, where the dark and deep Dungarvon sweeps along. Fast fell the driven snow, while the wildest winds did blow, till 4 feet deep it lay upon the ground, so that on the burial day, to the graveyard far away, to bear the corpse impossible was found. Then a forest grave was made, and in it the cook was laid, while the songbirds and the woodsmen ceased their song. There the last farewells were said, o'er the young and lonely dead, where the dark and deep Dungarvon sweeps along. Then the crew to camp returned, their dear comrade still they mourned, while the shades of night were falling o'er the hill. All that long and fearful night, all the camp was in a fright. Such fearful whoops and yells the forest fill. Pale and ghastly was each face. "We shall leave this fearful place, for this camp unto the demon does belong. Ere the dawning of the day we shall hasten far away from where the dark and deep Dungarvon creeps along." Since that day, so goes the word, fearful sounds have long been heard, far around the scene where lies the woodman's grave. Hoops, the stoutest heart to thrill, yells, the warmest blood to chill, and send terror to the bravest of the brave. till beside the grave did stand God's good man with lifted hand, and prayed that he these sounds would not prolong, that these fearful sounds would cease, and the region rest in peace, where the dark and deep Dungarvon sweeps along. Since that day the sounds have ceased, and the region is released from those most unearthly hoops and screams and yells. All around the Hooper's spring there is heard no evil thing, and around the Hooper's grave deep silence dwells. Be this story false or true, I have told it unto you, as I heard it from the folklore all life long. So I hope all strife shall cease, and our people dwell in peace, where the dark and deep Dungarvon sweeps along. This is ZWERG, and that was The Dungarvon Hooper by Michael Whalen.